Today, a tribute to an off-road hero. Although Jason Baldwin passed away 2 years ago, the spirit of this CORR champion lives on in this inaugural race you'll see right here on Xtreme. It's fender mashing, gear banging, truck racing action.
Hey guys, welcome to Xtreme 4x4, and today we've got a couple of firsts for you. But the idea actually started when we brought in this Jeep Cherokee to build our Jeep Speed 1 class desert racer. We're going to be finishing this up in a couple weeks. Now we got tons of emails about this truck, huge interest in this budget form of off-road racing. But we got just as many emails from guys who wanted to see something that was, well, a little bit more extreme. So we called up our friend Tony Vanillo at North American Off-Road, and he built us this. Tony's been building off-road trucks and buggies since 1984. And by off-road, I mean hardcore race vehicles, like trophy trucks for the Baldwin family. Right now, he's concentrating on CORR spec race trucks. This chassis was delivered just the other day as a true roller with a fresh set of 37-inch Toyos, TubeWorks rear axle, and a set of wicked hubs. Basically a rolling jungle gym that'll become one killer Pro 2 race truck. Now it takes a huge amount of driver skill to be able to pilot an 800 horsepower beast like this one's gonna be. And you can't argue with the fact that one of the best behind the wheel was Jason Baldwin himself. Some of the most intense racing action we've shown you in our first 2 seasons of Xtreme has included #1 Jason Baldwin in the driver's seat.
It's like doing 140 miles an hour in a hovercraft across the desert through 3-foot holes. It's pretty wild.
He was the catalyst of a racing family that included his brother Josh, father Jim Baldwin, brother-in-law Carl Renezetter, and dozens of support staff and drivers. Jason, however, was the most prolific, having won 2 Pro 4 championships in CORR, as well as the SCORR Baja 1000, which culminated in him being named Dirt Sports Driver of the Year.
Hold on, it's my dad.
He was always gracious to our camera crews.
Yeah, he got me right in the middle of an interview.
Never hesitating to give us an inside look at his Pro 4 suspension or the team's engine innovations. We last saw him just 1 month before he died tragically in a small plane crash while returning home from racing Baja. And with his wife Evie by his side, Off-Road's ambassador couldn't say enough about the sport he loved.
I mean, we've got so many fans out here, so many people that just love going to off-road races. And girls, guys, you know, everybody. You know, there's old people, young people. It's once they see this stuff, they're hooked. It is really cool kind of racing.
Now his father, Jim Baldwin, thought of a great way to keep Jason's spirit alive. It's called the Jason Baldwin Memorial Cup race, and we're going to show you the first race ever today on Xtreme 4x4. Now not only that, for the rest of this season while we're building this Pro 2 race truck, we're building this as a tribute to Jason.
Up next, it's the Pro 2s versus the Pro 4s for the winner-take-all Baldwin Memorial Cup race when Xtreme 4x4 continues.
Now we just took delivery of this wicked CORR Pro 2 chassis, and in the coming weeks, you're going to get to see us turn this thing into a hardcore race truck with all the go-fast goodies you'd expect. Now before we take you to the first ever full-length CORR race shown on Xtreme 4x4, we're going to have a look at a track that's becoming a driver's favorite.
With almost 800 horses and speeds that top the century mark, CORR racing is blowing up.
We love it.
It's real intense. It's door-to-door, fender banging racing. There's no give and take.
Added to the CORR schedule in 2005, Chula Vista Raceway south of San Diego became an instant driver favorite.
This is like a Talladega super speedway of off-road racing.
It's very technical and very fast.
The man responsible for this wickedness is track builder Joe Giedemann, otherwise known as Mr. Dirt.
I've been moving dirt for 30 years.
To be ready for race day, his army of heavy equipment has been working the track for a month straight.
It's a little over a mile, and to grade this whole area, we probably moved about 300,000 yards of dirt. That includes the hot pits and all that up on top.
To the naked eye, dirt is, well, dirt. To make it race ready though, requires special care.
Out here, this is almost all clay around here, so the big trick is to get it blended to where we get it really good and wet right before they race on it. Otherwise, it turns to flour.
What Joe does out here leaves the teams making adjustments back here. In a sport of $500,000 machines, success can be decided by a simple tire groove.
Brand new tires. What's left of them.
Tire grooving is very important in this extreme 4x4 racing.
We groove our tires different for each type of soil condition.
To get the best bite on this soil, every cut serves a purpose.
You've got to have channels this way for steering, and then these this way is all for braking. You want a bunch of sharp edges so when you apply the brakes and the tires start to lock up, it's gripping against something.
It's hard to believe that grooves can be as vital as horsepower or suspension, but the proof is in the numbers.
Yesterday during practice, we used tires that we used in a previous race in Crandon. They were cut for a softer, loamier soil, and during practice out here, we lost seconds on our time. So this morning when we practiced, we had a tire groove cut for this harder packed track with more blue groove in it, and we increased our speed by almost 2 seconds a lap.
When teams can't crack the track's tire setup, Joe Giederman usually gets blamed.
They're race drivers, of course, so they always complain about something. I don't pay any attention to them. I have a thick skin, yes.
Thick skin to design it, nerves of steel to drive in it. And now we're going to go back to Chula Vista for the start of the Jason Baldwin Memorial Cup race. Now Ken Stout's going to give us the play-by-play.
The top 10 Pro 2 sitting there waiting for the green flag. They qualified and earn a right to be out front. They get a full straightaway head start over the Pro 4 competitors, and Todd Ledoux was the #1 qualifier in the Pro 2 trucks. He gets the early lead, followed by Ricky Johnson. In the back, winding up the top 10, is Rhonda Conitzer. In third place is Steve Barlow. He makes a nice move down in Hellhole, and it looks like Rhonda Conitzer gets turned around. We'll go back to the front. Todd Ledoux, followed by Ricky Johnson. A real surprise after not being in the truck for 8 years. Then it's the Red Bull sponsored machine of Steve Barlow. Scott Taylor in the Skyjacker machine down low, trying to pick up some spots as we go back to Todd Ledoux. Skyjacker on the side of the truck. Todd Ledoux took a shot in the head on Saturday. Got a couple of stitches up there, and RJ trying to set him up. Charges up hard, then checks up, goes into the S's, and takes a whole nother line. So inside, outside, RJ's gonna go high here and try to get a run up off the top of this turn and go around Todd Ledoux. Can he pull it off right here? Yes, a nice clean pass right around Todd Ledoux. You can see all the shrapnel there. Ricky Johnson qualified this truck in the top 4 positions here, and he had not been inside of a truck in 8 years. Practiced with it on Friday, came out, qualified, and put this truck in the top part of the field. It was an amazing run, and now finds himself out in front in a Kraken winning $66,000. They used to call him the bad boy back in motocross days. He won 7 championships in motocross and supercross. Of course, also won the first ever Pro 2 championship back in 1998 with CORR. Now you're looking at Scott Taylor. Scott Taylor in the Skyjacker back machine. Looks like he'll get around Steve Barlow and the Red Bull truck. Back behind them is Mike Oberg. That big high bank turn 1, kind of flat on the bottom, high banked up on the top. If you can use the cushion, you can get a nice run off of it, but obviously the shortest way around is down on the bottom. You want to give a little, you got to get a little, and that's the way that turn works. Down here into Hellhole. A huge elevation change as they fall down into this big, long left-hand sweeper. 2 or 3 different lines there. Over the whoop section, some of the guys running way up high on the berm right there. All 3 of those choosing to stay down low, and again, back up over the tabletop right here to set up for another long right-hand turn. 3 different lines as they try to take this turn 3 wide. What a great battle. It looks like Oberg is going to get around Barlow. Barlow had a great run in both rounds, 15 and 16. They're following a 6-time champ. The Skyjacker back machine, of course, and that's driven by Scott Taylor. As we take you back up to the front, Todd LeDuc has been beaten on RJ through the S-turns every single time. Just wearing on that left rear tire. You wonder how much more the truck can take.
Stay tuned. The winner of the Jason Baldwin Memorial and the check for $66 grand when Xtreme 4x4 continues.
We're headed back to Chula Vista for the completion of the Jason Baldwin Memorial Cup, where former Supercross champ Ricky Johnson holds a slight lead over Todd LeDuc. Once again with the play-by-play, here's Ken Stout.
If the Pro 2s can stay in front of the Pro 4s, it is absolutely huge. The only person to ever win in a Pro 2 in a big cup race like this against the Pro 4s is Scott Taylor. Again, Todd LeDuc trying to get close to that left rear. RJ had a little bit of breathing room right there. RJ has not won a race in Pro 2 since 1998, the last time he sat inside of one of these trucks. Todd LeDuc not giving him an inch, though. These guys using literally every inch of this track. The berms have been built up after a full day of racing. This is the final race of the day. There's been about 10 races out here, so some huge berms running up onto the concrete walls, and these guys are using it all like this right here. These trucks soak up so much. The suspension on these trucks, simply mind-boggling what they can take. RJ loves a car or truck with a real soft sway bar. He likes to feel it roll all the way over until it gets on the bar and finally gets some bite. And that's the way you want these trucks to be if you want to be fast. But when you do that, you're transferring a lot of weight, and it opens up the door for these guys to roll one over. As you take a look right there at Josh Baldwin in the Pro 4 truck, and side by side they go here. This is for the lead. Oh man, and another big hit right there. RJ says, you want to lean on me? Here you go, brother. And now RJ's left rear tire's going flat. If you have to have a flat tire in this track, you want it to be on the left side, but it will eventually hurt him enough. I would think Todd LeDuc would be able to get by. You won't see him lose too much speed right here through these left-handers. But the second he has to make a right-hand turn, that's when he'll start losing ground. Lost nothing to that left-hander. Here comes the first right-hander on the flat tire. It rolls way over on the bar. Obviously no traction here now. He doesn't have front wheel drive to help pulling him out of them turns. Look at the left rear quarter just flopping around. Another right-hander. And Todd LeDuc has closed the gap. Sitting back behind them guys, Mike Oberg just waiting for somebody to fall out so he's got a crack at this deal. RJ hanging on with a flat tire. An amazing run for him, and there are your first Pro 4s. Dan Vandenhoevel in the 77, that's a Pro 2, but the orange truck was Adrian Chinney in the Pro 4. First, second, and third, and now it looks like Todd LeDuc's engine might be giving up. So after all that hard work, it looks like Todd LeDuc will have to pull off. That'll open up the door for Mike Oberg to step into second. A high-speed left-hander in turn 2. Todd LeDuc off the pace. And now Oberg will have a lot of ground to make up if he's going to catch RJ, but RJ still with that flat left rear. The truck and team owned by Jim Baldwin. Josh Baldwin runs underneath the banner. Also Ron DeConitzer. And of course, this race is named after Jason Baldwin, the Jason Baldwin Memorial, again, who ran underneath that umbrella for a number of years. Just a super individual. 2004 Pro 4 champion, also a score champion. He was a phenomenal driver, and of course his number was 66, and that also represents the purse here to the winner today. Mike Oberg really closing the gap. We also see back there another Pro 4 truck, that's Kurt LeDuc coming on. RJ fighting valiantly with that left rear flat tire. How he's hung on this long is beyond me. Oberg coming on. Oberg missing the championship in Pro 2 literally by 2 points. First year in the class. He's done a great job. Billy Sleeper power underneath the hood. Billy Sleeper also builds a lot of power plants that they run in the dirt late model series across the country. And now that left rear tire is starting to come apart. You can see it just shredding the bodywork. Kurt Leduc in the Pro 4 coming on. Right there, RJ had to change his line. And here comes the first Pro 4 truck of the race. The Skyjacker back machine driven by Kurt Leduc, who has won virtually everything out there at one time or another. Adrian Chinney gets into the side of RJ, and RJ's day is done. He'll try to hang on here, but he will not win the Jason Baldwin Memorial. Mike Oberg out front. Kurt Leduc, who's finished second in the points a number of times in championship off-road racing, has won multiple events, has run Paris-Dakar over his career, and right there, the checkered flag flies.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations goes out to Mike Oberg from Eagle River, Wisconsin for the victory and the great big check for 66 grand. Now, other CORR drivers will have their shot at getting their name engraved on the cup as the Jason Baldwin Memorial becomes an annual event. Welcome back to Xtreme 4x4. And now that you guys have seen the kind of racing these trucks have to endure, we'll take a close look at what makes a CORR chassis so unique. The most common misconception is that a CORR truck and a trophy truck are the same thing. They're not. The differences are subtle, but they are there. The number one thing you notice, CORR truck, single seat, just for a driver. The trophy truck has a spot for a navigator. The other issue, trophy trucks designed to travel 500, thousands of miles. You're out in the desert all by yourself. In a CORR truck, you're never alone. You got a truck over here and a truck over there, and you're basically trading body panels for the entire race. So when you got a truck like this, you want it to be built strong and you want it to be built right. Now to get that strength, the chassis is built out of 4130 chrome moly tubing, which has a tensile strength of 95,000 pounds per square inch. Now that, along with the overall design of all the chassis tubing and the triangulation, gives it the strength and, more importantly, the safety for the driver when these trucks are in those wild wrecks. Now we're going to go over all the unique features of this truck as we build it, so you're going to get to know this thing really well. But we wanted to get it in here and show it to you right away, because the next time we have this in here, we'll start to work on the power plant for this thing, and that is going to be awesome.